talk to you guys a little bit about yin yoga. I've realized that there's some people that are new to yin that don't quite know. There's some real interesting nuances to yin. So I'm going to invite you to lie back on your mat and maybe a blanket underneath your head. Just really get comfortable. I'm not going to lie back because I'm actually going to talk to you, but there's no reason to be looking at the screen. So get comfortable, a fluffy mat, comfortable sanctuary, and take your time. It's good to see you. I can still see some of you settling in. Just wiggle around a little bit, get comfortable, and follow that first deep, smooth, joyous inhalation in now. And exhale fully, slow, beautiful. And inhale, inhale. And exhale, just notice sensation. Notice sensation as you're inhaling fully, deeply. Joyous, and just watch the shift that's occurring. And follow your breath in and out. So I have about 4 minutes. I'm going to just talk a little bit. I put together some information. I think that's important. And at some point, I'm going to ask you guys to just peek over at the screens. I'm going to demonstrate. Yin yoga is a very satisfying, very quiet practice which stimulates and creates ease in the bones, connective tissue, and the myofascia. These denser tissues which respond to the longer hold times in order to deeply feel the release of tension. And it's not just physical tension, you guys. Many times that tension is mental, perhaps even emotional tension that gets discharged in the practice. Stillness and time are two very key principles in the yin practice. And the yin practice balances that yang energy and activities. And the yang, or masculine energy, represents that go, go, go and continual doing, the sense of accomplishment and moving. The yang tissues are blood and muscle muscle responds to repetitive rhythmic motion. Just think dancing, cycling, hiking, martial arts, hitting the gym. These two practices, the yin and the feminine, coupled with the yang and the masculine, harmonize and really complement one another beautifully. And I encourage you to always continue to explore both forms of exercise. What I love about yin is the meditative quality. I'm going to stop for a minute and just encourage you to breathe in slow, comforting, and soothing. And then exhale. Yeah, beautiful. And then just open your inner ears just a little bit more about yin. This sense of quality over quantity at times is what the yin, I think, brings to us. Just being is oftentimes missing in our lives. Yin promotes introspection through inquiry and meditation. And it's when we practice yin, we safely and conscientiously explore our edge, which is another very key principle in the practice. And the edge is best shown through demonstration. So stay on your back, just peek at the screen for a second. I'm going to demonstrate an edge just by using my strap, trying to show you my edge with my hamstring. So go ahead and just roll your head over, peek at the screen. I could practice here at my full edge, right? Push, push, push. If I went any deeper right now, I would injure myself. And I'm right at my edge, and that would be a horrible place to hold for 3 minutes. So rather, if I was way out here, I'd be in atrophy. I don't want to be there either. So I comfortably find this edge here. Okay? And that's all. You guys can just, there's nothing else to look at. I just wanted to show that there's that just right. Not too much, not too little. Kind of like a Goldilocks, if you will. And it's your investigation of when to back off, perhaps reduce tension, and when to allow more depth. The main benefits of the yin practice are mobility, that ease in the body or grace, and we're nourishing and healing the myofascia and the joints. We're exploring strong sensation, building tolerance to discomfort, and then the healing our relationships to our physical body. Yin also builds hyaluronic acid. I know, sounds really scientific, right? But that's what creates the synovial fluid, that viscous fluid that is in between the joints, that keeps us gliding, keeps us moving. And for go-getters and for hard chargers, sometimes a yin practice is really a sigh of relief, right? We put a slight stress on the joints, and stress has a negative connotation in our society. However, that right pressure on the body is exactly the way to heal the joints. So a reminder, when we practice yin, we don't use muscle. In fact, the muscles are recovering and they're relaxed. And this is one of the reasons why we often use props to soften the muscle tissue as we explore the yin poses. And we do turn the exercise theory right on its head. So from the outside, it looks like not a lot's happening, but a lot's happening. And it's all about joints and connective tissue. Well, a couple of the byproducts of the practice are deep peace and relaxation, which is what you tell me why you come, why you practice and flock to yin yoga. I'm going to quote one of my students, Whitney, who's in her early 40s. She loves to hit the gym hard, and she is a go-getter. After her first experience with yin, she came up to me and she said, I'm such a sweeter, kinder wife. I'm more patient with my kids, and I have this tenderness. So she's committed to her yin practice for reasons really that aren't physical at all, that are much more mental, emotional, spiritual. So that's what I wanted to say about the yin practice. And I'm going to guide you through some breath. It's what I need the most right now in my personal practice. I need to be guided. So I want you to exhale fully here. Exhale all the way. And let's inhale together. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And inhale again. 2, 3, and 4. And release the breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. And bring the breath in fully, joyously, generously, and come to the top of that breath, and a little pause, and release. 4, 3, 2, 1. And inhale, feel the belly rise, the ribs expand. And exhale, softening, ripening into the earth. Exhaling, fully empty the lungs. And then invite the breath in, slow and smooth. 3 and 4, just a little pause there. And exhale, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold the breath out as long as is comfortable for you. And then recover your own natural rhythm of breath. And by now you've closed your eyes and you're going deep within. Notice that the third eye, the space between the brows, is open and alive, vital. Notice the shift that has occurred just by virtue of slowing the breath down, being so mindful of the breath entering the body and leaving, departing, only to return again. This meditative quality of breath keeps us present to the present. And this presence is a state of being. It's not a state of doing, you guys. We're quite open and aware. Beautiful. We're going to stay on our back. And all you're going to do is move the soles of your feet together. Your knees are going to wing out to the side. And this is butterfly in yin. And if you need to set blocks outside your knees, I'm using a roll of paper towels, getting creative. If you need to set the props outside your thighs, feel free. And we'll just settle in here. You can slide a blanket up underneath your head. We're going to be here for 3 full minutes, exploring sensation. And continuing to invite the breath in. Not pushing, of course. You're finding your own edge, using blocks or not. Some of you are quite externally rotated and this pose is quite easy for you. The yin practice is quiet, soothing, and rich in inquiry. So I'm actually going to zip my lip for the next 2 solid minutes, and I'll let you know when it's time to move. There's an opportunity here to linger and just relishing this moment. And for the last 30 seconds, place your palms right over the navel stem, about 1 inch above your navel. And just let your palms rest. And feel your belly fill with prana, with life force. Just feel that wave of movement. And allow your nervous system to get soothed into the digest and rest phase, stimulating this very intentional rest through awareness, through deep breath. And set your props aside, soles of the feet flat, knees point up towards your ceiling, and we're going to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Nice and slow. Knees fall left, knees fall right. And widen your feet on the mat. Widen your feet, and then as your knees fall, you're going to feel this nice, simple freedom and more pliability. And you guys know not to worry if you're feeling fragile, right? But the fragility gets transformed into this nice ease, freedom, pliability pretty quickly. And go ahead and set your props aside. We're going to come into a very simple pose where you're going to extend your left leg long on the mat. You're still on your back, of course. And you're going to pull your right knee into your chest, clasp your hands all the way to the webbing, and you'll reach about 2-3 inches beneath that kneecap. And you're going to pull that knee in, avoiding the rib cage here. Now, find your Goldilocks, that just right, where you're not pushing, you're not pulling, that you're not backed off so much. This is a key principle, that edge. And so it's more about sensation and getting comfortable with the relationship to your physical body. You've warmed up the groin through the reclined butterfly, and so just notice any depth. Get curious. You're on a little exploration here. An exploration of breath and stillness and yin, a quiet, contemplative practice. There's really not a lot to do. There's nowhere to go, and there's plenty of time. Enjoy the next inhalation and just watch the sensation. And feel the joy and the ease as you exhale, just ripening into the earth. And releasing tension in the hip. Releasing tension in the mind. And just find the pleasure. There's a lot of pleasure, I think, in the practice, in the simplicity of it. Knowing that you are healing deeply, healing the joints and offering so much more mobility and ease. Release your right leg, extend it long on the mat, nice and slow, very deliberate, and then pull the left knee in. Clasp your hands 2-3 inches beneath the kneecap. Pull the knee in to the chest. Avoid the rib cage. And find your edge. Explore your edge. You never want to shove, push, but you do want to get curious. You don't want to back off so much. Just get very curious about the physical practice, the mental practice. Just watch, investigate. Let the breath nourish and nurture you. Nourish and nurture. And give your nervous system a break. We need to run and cycle and jump, and we used to hit the gym. Now we're probably hiking a lot more, biking, dancing, moving around. We need both the yang energy of movement and the yin energy of stillness. And just harmonizing the two energies. Beautiful. And go ahead and release your left knee nice and slow, nice and slow. Bend both knees again. Soles of the feet flat on the mat. Just windshield wiper a couple times. And just notice the release. You might even feel this nice release in the low back as well as the groin, especially if your feet are further apart on your mat. And slow it down. Beautiful, you guys. And we're going to cross right ankle over left knee. Some of us call this figure 4 pose. And some of you are just going to lie back here. Your back's going to be on the mat, and this is enough. And for others, we're going to reach our right hand through this little triangle we've made between the thighs. You're going to clasp your hands up behind your left thigh. And some of you are going to reach up and reach over that left knee. And if you do, and you take your head and neck up off the mat, fine. Just notice how yang that is. And exhale and come on down with your head. Yeah. And settle in here. Maybe a little rock side to side of the lumbar spine.
settle into your stillness. And your hands could be, like I say, down on the mat or behind the thigh or up over the knee. And you're just exploring the tension in the right IT band, that outer hip that has so much fascia. Fascia is a lot like cheesecloth in the body. It can get dry, stuck, and stiff, right? And you're just allowing these myofascia, this connective tissue, to be stressed. Like we talked in the beginning, a little stress is so good for the deep healing and pliability. If anybody wants to straighten your left leg, maybe you can reach for the toe. Do you need to go that far? Absolutely not. But as Greg Riley says, and he's watching, he says pony's gotta run. And I love that saying. So for you bendies, perhaps straightening the left leg is where you find that sweet spot, that edge. You're just irrigating your torso with prana, with life force through the rich and really yummy inhalations and exhalations. We put our bodies in these interesting shapes, and then really nothing to do, we just wait for it, yield to the tissues. And just a little longer here, lingering, savoring, and noticing where the sensations are for you. Getting comfortable with the discomfort. The yin practice is not restorative at all. The reason we find discomfort is when we're exploring the edge. We're never pushing, but we're exploring. It's not always comfortable. It's not yin, it's not restorative, where we're holding poses for 20 minutes all propped up. I love restorative. It's so necessary. But it's not the yin. Yin, you're feeling deep sensation. So from here, you guys, your right ankle is crossed over your left knee. You're going to close the gap, meaning you're going to cross your knee even more, right knee over, so your thighs come together. And then let your left foot touch the mat. We're coming into twisted roots. So perhaps moving your hips just ever so slightly to the right, moving your hips to the right, not knees. And then opening your arms to a nice wide T shape. And then dropping your knees off to the left. So you've crossed your right thigh over left, almost like you have a mini skirt on. And then you exhale and let those knees fall. Now, if you need this big roll of paper towels, or a block, or an encyclopedia out underneath that left side to prop your right knee on, feel free. I'm going to use my roll of paper towels today, just because I'm a little tight. And so this is a version of reclined twist. We just call this twisted roots. And we're going to be here for about 3 minutes. Nice Beth and John. And Greg, I sometimes wonder, does Greg just sit and watch, or does he actually dive into the poses? I guess we'll find out. And so just perhaps moving your head side to side, let your skull get a tiny massage, and then begin to invite the breath in so joyously, so generously here, and just allow the twisted roots to be as they are. Notice the marriage between breath and awareness. And it's a happy marriage. Their breath and awareness are in concert together. Just notice that. When the monkey mind takes over, and it will, you can guide the mind right back to the breath gently, just how you would guide a puppy. If you were training a puppy, come on back this way. Be gentle with yourself. Your mind is going to wander. It's what it does. We're human, and so we allow that. And we practice, we hone in the breath. And we learn with time to really fall in love with the breath and stay with the breath. Especially in those times when you're feeling a little frenetic or perhaps a little worried. Can change the energy via the nervous system. And so we want that energy to soften, right? We are energetic beings. We can shift that beautiful energy of calm and parasympathetic nervous system. You can shift easily, downshift if you will, with the breath. Just about 30 more seconds here, you guys. We're going to move out of the pose. Move slow, you guys. I'm feeling very fragile today in that outer hip. Very fragile. And so just roll onto your back. You might even adjust your hips over. And then this time I want you guys to pull the knees into the chest. Reach up around the shins and set your head back down on the mat. And just give your lumbar spine a massage on the mat. Just rocking knees left and right. Slow, you guys. Delicious. Soothing. This is the feminine quiet practice. And we'll go and do and accomplish a lot later. We need both, you guys. So just an easy rock. Let your legs stretch up towards the ceiling, so legs straight. And just point and flex your toes here. Point and flex. You can do this simultaneously or alternate. But really dive into the ankles, to the legs, and the sensation. Get curious, what's going on just in this simple movement. Simple breath. Beautiful, you guys. And then bend your knees, let your feet fall back to the mat, and feet about hip width apart. We're going to take the left ankle and cross it over the right knee in figure 4. Okay, and I don't think you guys need to look at me, but if you do, that's fine. You can have your back and head back on the mat, and maybe this is enough. Or you can take your left hand and find your way through that little triangle and clasp your hands behind the right thigh, or maybe even up over the right knee. And if you take your head and neck up off the mat, if you're with me and you're reaching for the knee, great. There's a lot of yang energy to be had here. Just feel and notice that. And then deeply breathe in and exhale. Set your head and neck back down on the mat so that you're exploring the yin. No muscles are needed here, right? And you can just rock on your lumbar spine. Just let your knees move a little. And settling into stillness. And how far you pull that right knee in is up to you. And also, you can take your left heel lower down towards your belly button. Some of you are laughing. But these are all places you can explore the edge, perhaps deepen, or listen to your intuition. And if it's saying back off a bit, then back off a bit. don't want to injure yourself. You just want to explore the edge. And it has a lot to do with sensation and intuition. I can always guide you guys. I cannot manage your intensity. You're doing great. And if you forgot the breath, then just laugh at yourself. There I go, thinking again. There I go, I'm out in the future. And guide that mind right back to the breath. And fall in love with these nuances. So many nuances you can explore. The delicious and full inhalations. That pause up there at the top of the inhalation. And the cleansing, soothing, deep, luscious exhalations. And my favorite pause is at the end of the exhalation. And get quite curious and just investigate that emptiness. For those of you that want to go deeper, this is a big maybe. Maybe you want to straighten your right leg. Maybe you'll reach up for that foot. Maybe not. It's your body. We're so much alike. One pelvis, two femurs. We're so much alike, and yet we differ in the collagen and the elastin, which is what these connective tissues are made of. And that's all why we come to the yin practice physically, is to heal the connective tissue. Most of us just come to relax and to find this deep peace. Just envision a pat of butter. You put that pat of butter in a skillet. And you turn the skillet on, simmer, and the butter melts slowly over time. Just notice how you can melt and just dissolve into the pose. We're going to move you guys very slowly, pardon me, into twisted roots. So you're just going to close the gap in between the thighs. You're crossing your left thigh and crossing your left thigh all the way, like you have a mini skirt on, letting your right foot hit the mat. For me, I just lift up slightly and move my hips, maybe 2 inches to the left. Hips, not knees. Hips. And then open your arms to a nice wide T shape. Inhale deeply, and as you exhale, let your knees fall to the right. This is twisted roots. It's a deep, deep reclined twist. And maybe you will set a blanket underneath the knees out there, off to the right. Maybe you'll use that roll of paper towels. To me, that's a brilliant, it's a big fat roll, Viva. Makes a nice bolster. And tune in, tap in physically for a moment. Where are you feeling the pose? You're going to explore the edge enough to really get sensation, not pain. And follow the breaths in and out, slow and steady. Slow and steady. You can really enrich your practice with the breath, just the slow, meditative quality of prana, pranayama. Life force is prana. Ayama means to control. Just tune in. You'll feel the physical release, especially in the exhalation. The inhalations give you this sense of feeling lifted, light, and buoyed. And the opposite of that is grounding, centered. As you exhale, the pose deepens. And it's the exhalation that taps you right into the parasympathetic nervous system. We're going to savor this pose a little longer. Just notice what can shift, what can deepen. The mind can relax. The body is just marinating here. And this glorious sense of equanimity as the yin and the yang energies just harmonize easily with no effort whatsoever. We can't keep burning out, burn the candle at both ends. We would burn out. We need the rest, we need the restoration, rejuvenation, and then we'll be ready to move into the yang energies again. Slowly, slowly, you guys are going to take your knees up. You might feel fragile, don't worry. Uncross that left knee. Get both soles of the feet down on the mat. And just let your knees fall side to side. Leave your feet on the mat. So this is just a simple windshield wiper. Left, knees go right. And just notice the quality of massage in that lumbar spine. Your most highly ligamented portion in your entire body. Looks like cheesecloth running vertically, horizontally, and diagonally. This cheesecloth wraps up bones, muscles, organs. Gets dry, gets contracted. But the good news is, we're here in yin. Stretch out long, long toes as far away from your fingertips as you can get. Just like that good morning stretch. Circle your toes around and ankles around and your wrists. Inward, outward. Just tune in, tap in. Don't go away. Tune into physical sensation. Be present with me right here, right now. And roll up to seated. Even though it would be great to just lie back, right? And come to your hands and knees, you guys. And if you have cranky knees, then go ahead and use a blanket underneath your knees. I don't have cranky knees today. We're gonna just play a little bit, you guys, and I love this play. If you need 2 blocks out in front of you, or I have a dictionary, I really do. Can you believe it? Like, why do I still have this when I can just go online and look up a word? You can have your blocks out in front of you if you want. I think I need to move back just a little bit. Dan, I think you might even want to move this back. I'm going to step up into lunge with my right foot forward. Yeah, can you move this back just a slight bit? We're going to just play here, you guys. We're going to rinse out. We're coming from lunge back into half split a little more. Yeah, there you go. So you're just exploring. Okay, I'm going to walk you through this and then I'm going to let you guys go. To me, this is a rinsing out. I love this. Lunge, you're inhaling.
Yeah, and using your blocks if you need to. And then you're letting your hips come back into half split, so you're dropping down over that hamstring and just really exploring. You don't want to push, you don't want to deepen, you want to inhale into your lunge, exhale into your half split. And however fast, however slow you go, it's up to you. I just want to guide you into this joyous, yummy motion here. So believe it or not, this is yang. It is. Anytime we're moving on the earth, we're using muscle. Yeah, and if you want to find the little back bend here in the lunge, it's here. And you can linger and then exhale. It's always an exhalation as you drop down over the half split. And it's this yummy, joyous inhalation that brings you up into your lunge. And I like to think of this as just a rinsing out. And if you want to close your eyes, practicing pratyahara, which is just sensory deprivation. Sounds a little drastic, but when we close our eyes, we're cutting off the sense of sight intentionally to really enliven the sense of touch. And maybe you have soothing music in the background. Perhaps you're listening to silence today. And step back with your right foot. And we're going to switch sides. Step up with your left foot into lunge. Can you move that back just a little more? So you're coming up into your lunge and drop back into your half split. Yeah. Nice and slow. Up into your lunge. Better. And drop back. To your half split. So you're exhaling. You can linger here. If lingering is something that suits you. Inhale. Come into your lunge. Exhale, half split. And just feeling what's going on in that hamstring. How deep should you go? Should you go deeper? Should you back off? Get curious about this yummy sensation. And just release the tension, physical tension in the hips, and the legs. Beautiful, you guys. And then step back with your left foot. Step up again with your right foot. We're going to come into swan or pigeon, and I'm going to turn sideways. I don't have enough room here. I'm going to turn sideways so that I'm on my mat. So you guys are stepping up with your right foot into your lunge. Yeah, I see you guys. Great. And from here, you're just going to let your knee fall to the side. Right knee off to the side. And you want to try to get your hips as straight as you can behind you. If you're rocking off to your right hip, you might want to take just the corner of a blanket and stuff it underneath that hip so that your hips are square here. This should feel good after that figure four. If you're struggling in pigeon, you guys, go onto your back again. So I'm going to just go right where we were. I'm going to demonstrate. Figure four, we already were here. So if you want to come right back to your figure four and pigeon are the same pose. Pigeon's just much deeper because you're on the floor. So I'm going to encourage you guys to take your palms and push into the mat so that your torso's up, and you'll explore this back bend with me here. Beautiful. I think I see Carrie, Beth, you're blacked out, Carla. Beautiful. So use your breath here. Use your breath, Carrie. Inhale here. And exhale so that you're not rushing and you're coming down into sleeping swan. Maybe you're going to extend your arms out, way out in front of you. Perhaps you're going to bend your elbows here and rest your forehead on the back of your hands. We're going to settle into this swan or pigeon. This is quite a juicy hip opener. So I want you to explore your edge with caution and use your intuition to know how deep. This is a fabulous pose to investigate these uninvestigated tissues in that outer IT bend. And soften with breath.
if you find that you're efforting in a pose, you're really crunching and you can't breathe well and you're tensing, then you know this pose is not for you, and you know it's going to be better to go onto your back and find your figure four. And perhaps if your forehead's down, just rock your head side to side. And notice if you're clenching in the jaw or behind the head or neck or shoulders, and see where you can loosen up in the pose even more. Loosen. And it might just be a great yawn. Discharges energy so well. Yawning is so soothing to the nervous system. And I know I'm in the pose with you guys. I know there's a lot of sensation here. As long as you're not in pain, I'm going to encourage you guys to linger for one more full minute. I do have my eye on the second hand. And let the tension melt away and just dissolve. Physical tension, emotional tension. We're always invited in a safe practice to explore emotions, period. Just explore them. We don't have to label them. Some are better or worse or acceptable or not. What if emotions just are emotions, period? It would be nice to just feel and allow. Give ourselves permission to be who we are. So, since I can't see you guys, I want you, if you're in swan with me, I want you to push into the mat and you're coming up, torso up, and tuck that back toe. And I want you guys to find your way into downward facing dog if you can, slowly. If you need to be on your hands and knees, then I'm going to trust that's where you're going to stay. Otherwise, you're with me, and you're going to take that right leg up and down, just like a hinge. Click, click, click. If you guys could hear my bones, you'd be laughing. And so it's this simple yang movement, counter pose, just releasing tension. You can take your knee into the nose and sort of donkey kick your leg out there a few times. And bend that knee, circle that knee around, just like a crank. This is a ball and socket joint, very complex joint. And just discharging some of that static energy, just loosening up. And from here, we're going to change sides, you guys. So if you're still with me in down dog or hands and knees, take your left leg high behind you, look up in between your hands. Step up into your lunge, let that back knee come down. And from your lunge, I want you just to drop your left knee off to the side, nice and slow. We're going to explore our swan or pigeon, same thing, you guys, on the other side. So you're going to get yourself situated here. If you need to use that blanket underneath that hip, yeah, I see some of you situating. And just notice, it takes a little while. I'm pretty flexible, but this pose is real deep and juicy. And if you're with me, there's a back bend here, especially if your palms are down on the earth, your torso's up like a pigeon, right? Or a swan. And just feel the sensations. You'll feel this in the outer hip, and also you'll feel this in the hip flexor, the back leg, right? So some of you will look up here. Open your throat, nice, beautiful. Beth, I bet you I can see you. And just exhale. And allow your torso to fall to the earth, slow, slow. And maybe you'll widen your elbows and rest your forehead on the back of your hands. Or maybe you'll stretch your arms way out in front of you.
caution, if you're efforting and swan just isn't the pose for you, please come onto your back, figure 4. You're going to get a really great hip stretch. We already did figure 4 before we came into those twisted roots. So we're pretty open in the hips. You're just exploring this mobility, which is so much more important as we age than flexibility. Flexibility is range of motion, you guys. Mobility is ease of motion. So when you get out of bed in the morning, you don't sound like a bag of Cheetos. Not so crunchy. You actually feel pretty darn good and fluid. And use your breath to deepen into this pose. We're going to visit this pose for a while. And fall in love with your breath. Joyously, generously drinking the breath in and in, feeling that sense of lightness, of being lifted, and then sinking down more and more. If you were practicing on a memory foam mattress, you would be making an imprint and sinking down, marinate. Relax your face. Relax your jaw. Relax your shoulders and your upper back. Get curious about your sensation. You use your breath as the meditative tool it is. It's always available to you, especially in these deep, juicy hip openers. A little patience, a little lingering, not much longer, you guys. And how do I know you guys haven't all come out anyway? With breath, with your inhalation, you guys, begin to raise up and up and up. Tuck that back toe, and we're going to find our way into downward facing dog or hands and knees, your call. Take your time. If you're with me, you're in your dog, and you're going to take your left leg high and low, just like a crank. Just, releasing tension. Get some lubrication and some motion. Knee to the nose, maybe a couple good donkey kicks out there. Just release that physical tension. That was a deep, deep hip opener. You can bend the knee off to the side, circle clockwise and counterclockwise. Just releasing. If you're on your hands and knees, actually come to your hands and knees, even some of you that are in downward dog. And we're just going to circle the hips around, you guys. So my toes are tucked. You guys might have your toes flat. We're just going to let the hips circle back. So it's almost like you're visiting child's pose in a way, but then back up on your knees. And so you're just circling the hips around clockwise and counterclockwise. should feel really loose through the hips. So we're going to come into supported bridge. And you guys think I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding. Look how fat this roll. This is Viva. You think I would be like, Viva? I'm going to use this as my supported bridge. So you're going to find your way onto your back, you guys. It could be a blanket, it could be a block, could be an encyclopedia, right? Your knees are hip-width apart, and your feet are going to walk a little bit closer to your buttocks. So if you're not sure about supported bridge, you can look at me here, because there's one real trick that I love about supported bridge. Raise your hips enough to slide your prop right underneath the sacrum. And so I just crushed this roll of paper towels. Actually feels really good. I want you guys to tuck your chin here so that you're elongating the back of the neck. And the key here is to roll your shoulders back on each other. So shoulder back and down. So you're resting on the backs of your shoulder. It's a big expanse in the chest. And your chin is tucked. And then take a big breath in here. And exhale. And just watch your bones really get heavy here. So the soles of your feet, your sacrum, the backs of the shoulders, backs of the deltoids resting, and your skull. Big breath in. Release the breath, release the tension. Big breath in again, big. Joyous, generous, yummy. Exhale fully. And allow your physical body to soften. Just surrender here. Go ahead and place your palms, both palms flat right over the navel stem. And just press down a little bit, just give yourself a little massage, and then palms flat. I want you to pay attention to the next breath in. Let the belly rise and fall. Feel the belly rise as the prana enters. Absorb that prana, that life force. Exhale fully. Inhale, ride the rhythm of your breath like a wave in and out. Exhale. Belly rise, inhale. Exhale. Feel the shift, you guys. Push down on your navel. This is your Manipura chakra, wheel of energy. This center in the body, keep breathing. Just maybe pushing your hands a little. Very aware here. This chakra associates with confidence, with knowing, with certainty. I would say that this chakra is probably a little shook in all of us right now. So just this simple action of inhaling, feeling your belly really rise, bring the breath in, enjoy a little pause, and then exhale fully. Feel how good, how soothed.
you're stimulating the response of rest and digest. And then go ahead, you guys. Raise your hips just enough to release the block or the encyclopedia, etc. Set that aside. Prepare your body for the Shavasana that's really comfortable for you. So if you want to snuggle up like a little cocoon in a blanket, it's kind of the Indian tradition of yoga. Shavasana means corpse. Maybe you don't want a blanket. I always use a blanket, but that's just me. Maybe you want one behind the head. If you have an eye bag, a little pressure on the eye mask feels good. And we're going to, oh, awesome, perfect. I think 10 minutes is so optimal. For some of you, you think that's a long time. Whatever you're practicing right now, I encourage you with all my heart and every part of my being. Don't skip your Shavasana. It's a very, very critical pose, and it is a pose. So I'll see you in a little bit. Please lose your mind, and I'll guide you as to what to do next. Right now, nothing. Absolutely nothing. slowly, mindfully, compassionately curl up on your left side, yin side, into a sweet fetal position. Just steeping in the sweetness of the yin practice, allowing the tenderness to envelop your bones, almost as though someone draped a satin sheet. Just let it fall from the sky and cascade down and wrap you up. Satin, softness and comfort, safety. And if it suits you, allow the lips to curl into a smile. It takes muscle. And just notice the energy shift from a simple smile. And it can relax your face. Consider, as we're all lying here together in fetal position, consider that vulnerability is like a smile. When you give it away, you might get it back. And if you can, keep your eyes closed so that you're staying in this yin zone. Rise to a comfortable seat. Take your time. And we'll wait for you, a seat that's comfortable. And sit up tall, sit up purposefully, proudly, and just be no rush to seal the practice. Tilt your chin down as if to bow to your sadhana, your practice. And honoring your choice to be here today, such a wise choice for optimal health and well-being, and caring for our nervous systems together. Very wise choice. Gather your palms together in Anjali Mudra, symbol of devotion and reverence. And savoring this sweetness and stillness from the bottom of my heart. I thank you for practicing with me from the sanctuary of your own home. It means so much to be able to look up and see that you're here with me. Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.